Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for allowing me to ask my questions. We're unique in terms of the Forest Service in that we have the grasslands in North Dakota. And it's very important that you come out and see them because, just to get an understanding, because it is different than traditional forests, obviously. But also, I think it's incredibly important for the people that live and work and ranch out there, and because we have the multiple uses out there, everything from, of course, ranching, but also incredible energy development, like the ranking member is very involved with, but also tourism and other things as well. So I'd like to ask you to work with us to bring you out of course, now it's spring, so, we haven't quite gotten rid of winter yet, but we're getting to a real nice time of year, and I'd very much like you to come out. And it's not only important in terms of your understanding of the grasslands, but also the folks out there need to see you, and know that you're finding out what's going on and listening to them. So that's kind of a long invitation, but I'd like you to come out to North Dakota with us and spend some time in the grasslands.
Senator, could I say that I would love to come out to North Dakota, and you may be pleased to know that I used to live in North Dakota.
No way. Did you say that to every member that you used to live in their state? Or?
I started my career in North Dakota, in Dickinson, Lakota, lived that whole area. So I contoured North Dakota. I was just out there about 6 weeks ago as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. But I'm very fond of North Dakota. It used to be my home.
Well, that's great. Then you know how to get there. And you'll be welcomed. And it really is important that it makes such a difference in terms of the folks that live and work out there. As you know, having been out there, one of the things that we worked on is we've really worked to secure some funding and find ways to bring the grazing associations together with the counties and the townships and your folks, the Forest Service folks, state of North Dakota, in an effort to make improvements out there. And that's a bit of a challenge because some folks want improvements for ranching, some folks want improvements for tourism, and so there's a natural tug and pull there. And we have set up a working committee to kind of oversee some of the funding that we've put together for that, which includes both federal, state, and local funding. And so are you willing to commit to work with us on that?
Yes, I am, absolutely.
Good. And see, that just dovetails very well with a trip out there. Staffing, how are you doing on your, I know you have real challenges on staffing. How are you doing there? How can we be helpful?
So, it's a really great question. I'll give you an idea of the staff. And last year, we hired about 3,500 employees, but we lost 2,700 through attrition. And so all of that hiring, we only netted about 800 in terms of capacity. And so we're seeing that. We don't know how much of a trend that is, but we're going back out again to advertise for about 2,500 additional employees to see if we can't look at getting our capacity up to really look at implementing the wildfire crisis strategy, but also to look at implement other parts of the program like Great American Outdoor Act funds as well as IRA and BUILD funds.
Okay, and you feel you're going to make some progress?
I do feel that we'll make progress, yes.
The other thing I want to ask you, the Joint Chiefs Program, so Senator Bennett and I on a bipartisan basis have legislation, and it's really provides for this coordination, I think, out there. And in respect to fire, for example, as well as your, the landscape restoration. Actually, we called our legislation the Joint Chiefs Landscape Restoration Partnership Act. But again, it's about, the kind of a joint effort out there. Because, again, there's different ideas in terms of if you're really tourism focused in some of those groups, they want a certain approach. And then our grazers need another approach. And so that was really the effort behind the Joint Chiefs legislation that Bennett and I have. So talk a little bit how that works, and particularly in regard to fire resilience as well as the landscape restoration and maintenance and so forth.
Yeah, so I'll start by saying that Secretary Vilsack has insisted that USDA operate as one. That fits quite nicely with the Joint Chiefs projects. My colleague, Chief Cosby for NRCS, and I, we have regular meetings to look at opportunities to have Joint Chief projects. So we just looked at a round of projects just not too long ago to fund. And I don't have at my fingertips the number of projects or the location of them yet, but we do feel that this is an opportunity to really work across boundaries, to look at both federal, state, and private lands, trying to improve the work there, particularly those areas that have been affected by fire, disease, and insects, and some of those types of problems.
And you would be supportive of reauthorization of the Joint Chiefs Program in the Farm Bill?
Yes.
And the other thing we do a lot of is we're doing a lot with unmanned aerial systems, unmanned. And so in terms of the grasslands, fire suppression, fire management, any thoughts on using some of that new technology? But then also, are you really committed to work again with the ranchers out there? Because the control burdens and that kind of thing can be a real problem if you're not coordinating closely. And most of the emergency response out there is volunteer.
Yeah, so we are really moving into using the drones for a lot of different purposes. Fire is one of those purposes, but just looking at natural resource management, we're looking at how can we use drones more. We currently have about 100 employees that have been certified for drones, and we're going to continue to look in that arena and to expand our opportunities to utilize that type of equipment. We do believe that is the future, and we really want to lean into it.
And close coordination with the people on the land out there on fire
Absolutely,
management.
close coordination.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it very much. And again, thanks to the chairman and ranking member.